Artist Khaila Batts of Queens, New York, finds herself near the beginning of a bright career. That's according to jurors selected by Lake George Arts Project, who chose Batts to be among just 6 artists this year to have their own solo show in the Courthouse Gallery. Jurors say they selected Batts' works for the gallery walls based on her skills with color and perspective. They had no idea about the surprise that awaits viewers with her artwork when you add a little technology to the experience. Joining us now is the artist from Queens. Hello, Khaila.
Hi.
The gallery in Lake George simply radiates with the brilliant colors of your work, and I understand the oil paintings on the wall represent the final version of a process. What's your process?
So my process involves me taking pictures. So there's several different forms of pictures. I take pictures of my family, and either I pose them or they're more candid shots. I take those, and then I also take pictures of my environment, and I make a digital collage that meshes them together. And from there, I use those digital collages as a reference for the paintings.
So your digital photographs lead to collages, which lead to paintings, and there's something else about these paintings that makes them excellent examples of 21st century art. Why should we all be sure to bring an iPhone with us to the gallery?
You're supposed to bring your iPhone to have an additional experience. I use a process called inversion, which basically turns the colors into their complementary color. So what you would do is you go through your settings, and it's in all phones. You go to your accessibilities, and once you use that inversion feature, you look at the paintings through your camera, and then you see basically the colors inverted. And it'll inverse, say, a blue color to like a brown to like a skin tone.
And the gallery has easy instructions on how to change your phone settings. It works in particular with iPhones.
Yes.
Well, I've seen examples of digital art before, but I've never seen this kind of experience before. How did you come up with this idea?
I came up with this idea basically because of my stepmother. She is a photographer, and I remember going into like the dark rooms and looking at the little negatives and putting them into the light and seeing blue figures. And from that, I kind of used that into making my digital collages.
It looks amazing. And what does the inversion of color do for our experience with the art?
So the inversion is a part of this aspect of perception, and how when you see something, it's all based on your perception of color or your association with color. So by inverting the actual piece, you get a different interpretation of that work.
And Khaila, do you have a preferred color palette for the piece? Either the painting as we first see it on the wall or the painting as we see it with the inverted colors on our phone?
It depends on each piece. I do like both aspects, so I keep that in mind, but I do want the piece to be saturated and like full of color regardless.
Well, each painting is full of color, and as people walk around the gallery, what other commonalities will they see in the works?
So in my paintings, I use my family, and they are the figures, and I pose them, so it's a very familiar process for me. And I put them into the paintings to incorporate aspects of me in my life.
Yeah, and one of the works of yours that treats the theme of family is braids. What can you tell us about this piece?
So braids involves 4 figures. There's 2 figures that are sitting down, and one is getting their hair braided. And for braids, I feel like it's a bonding moment, but also it is a experience of pain, because when you're getting your hair braided, it's kind of painful, but at the same time, it's a collaboration between you and the other person. And when I think of family, I think of people that I love, but at the same time, they have hurt me. But that hurt is like a everyday, normal, accepted thing. So I like to incorporate aspects of pain with aspects of modernity and aspects of pleasure, just to mimic everyday life.
Well, Braids is a striking piece, and the work next to it has a striking title. Femicide is a hate crime. The word femicide refers to the murder of a woman. What's happening in this painting?
So in the painting, it's just a bunch of people walking around. It's based off of my experience at the Barclay Center, which is a arena where a bunch of artists and performers do live performances. At the Barclay Center, there was a big mural that said femicide is a hate crime, and I wanted to mimic that in my painting of people just walking by while such a drastic and like shocking message is on, and they're going to like their concerts, they're going on their everyday life. And I wanted to show how sometimes we ignore, even though it's not always conscious, we ignore certain situations that happen. So the image is not violent. It's just a shocking reminder that there is femicide happening, and this is happening in contrast to people who are going to concerts and they're watching shows and they're living their everyday lives.
That's something to ponder. Well, Khaila, your pictures are moving a lot of people who see them in the gallery. What moves you to create art?
What moves me to make art is basically how Blackness is perceived. I kind of wanted to show a whole image, multiple different aspects of Blackness, and how through inversion or like this different perception, you can see different aspects of like humanity.
Well, the director of exhibitions, June Waters of Lake George Arts Project, says the jurors had no idea that you were a young artist, someone under 35, because they choose artists for solo shows based only on the sample artwork that gets sent to them. How do you feel having been selected to be just one of 6 people from among 300 artists who submitted to have a solo show in Lake George?
I'm very grateful. It is my very first solo show, so yes, I'm very grateful. It's a great opportunity for me.
That is fantastic, and now you've had your first solo art show and you've already completed a residency in Monson, Maine. And June Waters says you have a promising art career ahead of you, and I agree. Thank you so much for sharing your paintings with us today, Khaila.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's been a real pleasure. If you'd like to look at the paintings up close and see how your phone inverts the colors, you have until August 10th to view the show Khaila Batts, Perception in Fragments, Unveiling Family Through Color and Memory. That's in the Lake George Arts Project Courthouse Gallery at 1 Amherst Street. Head to lakegeorgearts.org for more information.
Spotlight is supported by the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation, dedicated to improving the quality of life for year-round residents of the Adirondack Park.